Our next guest, as you mentioned, he's looked at investing in Syria before. In 2009, Traxis Partners Barton Biggs led a delegation of money managers to the country to talk to Syrian President Bashar al-Assad about investing there. Now, at the time, he said he was very impressed by Assad's presentation. Barton Biggs joins us now live. Barton Biggs, welcome to In Business. Can you just describe exactly what the meeting with the president of Syria was like? Where did it take place? How many people? And what was the feeling in the room?
Hey, look, I'm just a naive young hedge fund manager, and yeah, I mean, when we went to Syria, we met and saw a lot of people, and there we had I'd say we met with the president for about an hour and a half. There were maybe 10 or 12 of us in the room, and he had along his father-in-law, and who was a very sophisticated English Syrian, and look, I mean, yeah, I was very impressed with Assad, and as I say, I'm young and naive, and I believed he had a great line of chatter that he gave us about the reforms he wanted to make and how he wanted to build toll roads and dams and power stations and raise the standard of living of the people, and it was and personally he was very affable and charming, and when we talked about international events and what was going on with Syria and Israel and Syria and Iran, he didn't give any great revelations, but he didn't take a extremely negative, hardline view. So what can I say? I mean, I guess I was like George Bush looking into Putin's eyes and seeing an honest man. I thought I saw a good, honest man with Assad, and I think and so I'm very disappointed the way it's turned out, but as you said earlier in your previous piece, Syria really is a dynamic country. There's 22 million Syrians, and there's got to be 10 or 15 million Syrians all around the world, and they've always been a very entrepreneurial, dynamic people, and so. I thought the Wall Street Journal's article, lead editorial a couple of days ago, attacking the so-called Syria lobby, which I guess they claim is headed by Obama and Hillary Clinton, is wrong. I mean, we want to maintain contact with Syria, and I think that our hands-off approach has been about right so far.
Barton Biggs, what would get you to invest in Syria now? Would it mean regime change for you?
Yeah, I'm afraid after what's happened that we're going to have a regime change. I mean, I think that as you may know, there are some important tribal conflicts in Syria, just as they are in Libya, and Assad is an Alawite, and they're a minority sect, and part of what's going on is the tribal warfare, and there are a whole group and so it would be. It's going to be hard to put Humpty Dumpty back together again.
Lara, Setrakian, come in on this. So you're reporting from Dubai about what's happening in Syria. Come in on this topic with Barton Biggs.
Well, Barton, I really want to ask you a two-part question. I know that trip was a lot about Wall Street taking a closer look at Syria, just a kind of familiarization tour. But did anyone from that group go on to any real ventures? Was there investment? We know that U.S. private investment isn't blocked by sanctions, and the U.S. government doesn't block it. But were they encouraging it? Did you get any signs or encouragement, support, help from the State Department?
No, but look, when we went in Syria, we clearly got to understand that there are two groups in the Assad government. There's one group that was led by the deputy prime minister for finance, who was advocating a rapid economic development and opening up of Syria to international investing. And when we met with him, and he was very articulate and very interested, and we talked specifically about a sovereign debt issue, a private equity fund, and we had a guy from Temasek along on the trip, and he made it clear that Temasek would be definitely interested in making a big commitment to private equity projects in Syria, like, as I mentioned, toll roads, dams, power stations, and so on. So it was very, and they were clearly interested in a sovereign debt issue, and Syria's financial position is very strong. I mean, they have very little sovereign debt outstanding. They have at least in 2010 they had a public sector surplus. So everything could have happened, and there was a very favorable response from the investors. And then all of a sudden, about 2 months later, it's just stopped. It turned off, and we got no further response from the Syrians about moving forward.
All right, we've got to leave it there. I want to thank you very much, Barton Biggs, co-founder of Traxis Partners.